they do all the things, right? Like we know there's one prize if they only get the sales, one prize if they only get the recruits. But we're just going to assume that they get it all, right? All of our recruits get it all. But in order to talk through how to hit the 2-week goals, I think we first have to look at how do we hit the weekly goals. Okay, so we're going to be breaking this down on a little bit of a weekly level. So week 1, when they join, they need to hit 250 in sales, which means they need to schedule and hold their launch party. They need to schedule 2 parties for the next week. Okay, week 2, they need 500 in sales, which means they hold 2 parties, but they also need that recruit. So they recruit a hostess, they schedule 2 parties for next week. Week 3, hold 2 parties, schedule 2 parties. Week 4, hold 2 parties, recruit, schedule 2 parties. Week 5, hold 2 parties. Do y'all see the rhythm that's happening? All we need to do, hold 2 parties, schedule 2 parties, hold 2 parties, schedule 2 parties. We want to start establishing these habits and these rhythms from day 1. I think so often before we were seeing that people hit Success Kit 1 and never went beyond that. And I think one of the reasons why is we never fully established the habits. So we would help them hit Success Kit 1, but they hadn't established this rhythm of holding, booking. And because of that, when we started backing off, they were able to continue doing that. And so as we look at habits, there is a quote from the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It says that habit is the intersection of knowledge, what to do, the skill, how to do it, and the desire, the want to do it. And so part of this is our job as their leader, giving them the knowledge and the skills, so then they have the desire to do it. Okay, so that's what we're going to be looking at today, is a little bit of how to establish these habits from day 1 of their business. So it's funny because I didn't know the Connect 4 was starting for us on February 1st, but the calendar view that we're going to be looking at is if your recruit was to join on February 1st. So this kind of is going to work for us too on how to hit all the dots. I thought that's so convenient. I mean, Heather saw my presentation and decided to do it, right? So we are just going to assume that you have a new consultant that joins February 1st. So the first thing that we need to do with them is we need to set the date of their launch party. We know, looking at that week 2 goal, that by the end of week 2, they need 500 in sales and 1 recruit. We know that they need to have their launch party that next week, right? So as soon as somebody joins, hey Susie, I'm so excited that you joined. Let's go ahead and get you started on your business. Let's set the date for your launch party. How does next Thursday, February 6th, sound for you? Okay, so I know that this is something that I've shared before, but systemize the launch night for your team, whatever night it is, right? All of my people launch on Thursday nights. Why? Because I need to have them on the same night. It's really helpful. And so this isn't a choice. I'm not like, hey, what night looks open for you? I give her the date. How does Thursday, February 6th, sound for you? So we set the date for that launch party. Now we're going to look at a little bit of a step-by-step. So what do we do every single day with our new consultants? Again, you might already be doing some of this. Maybe it'll help you. Also, one thing, I am still sticking with Facebook parties, so this is very Facebook specific. If you're doing something different, just tweak it as needed. So the date that they join, we're setting up the date for their launch party and walking them through sending messages. 4 days before the launch party, so now we're on Sunday. Ideally 4 days before their launch party, that's when they are setting up the Facebook event, they are creating their e-commerce link. I am making my new consultant do this. I don't run the party for them. Why? They need to create these habits themselves. If I do it for them, they don't learn anything, right? So they are creating the Facebook event. I am watching, I look at the event, I'm making sure the date is right, and the time is right, and all of that. But they're doing it. So then when we get to, hopefully, about 3 days before the party, we have this little bit of a lull period. They've done the invites, the event set up, right? Now what do we do? My goal is to get 2 parties booked before their launch party date ever happens. And I think this is probably, if I have any secret sauce, this is probably it, okay? Getting 2 parties booked before their launch ever happens. So if you're like, oh, why? Okay, so let's look at why. We know that at week 2, they need 500 in sales and 1 recruit. So their launch is going to hit 250, their first party is going to hit 250, and then they need 1 recruit to join. Okay, so we have to get 2 parties booked for the next week. But if you're like, well, why do we get them booked before their launch party happens? So there's this funny thing that happens in the minds of new consultants that I don't always understand. They have these like misconceptions that at some point along the way they're probably going to get frustrated and they're going to feel like they're failing. And me, as a leader, I'm like, that's not a fail, but in their mind, sometimes they can feel like it's a fail. And so I want to get them a win before they ever have that preconceived fail, right? So some of the ones that I've seen is, for example, if they invite 25 people to the into the party page and only 10 people participate. In my mind, I'm like, that's fine, girl, you got 10 people participating. In their mind, they're like, what about those other 15 people? They hate me, they're not participating, and then they like go down this spiral of I don't even know what. Sometimes the launch party night, the launch party goes well, people are participating, no orders come in. And this poor little consultant is like, no orders came in, I worked so hard. And I know, like, that's fine, but they don't know that, right? Sometimes it takes a lot of time, and they don't realize how much time it takes. I know it's going to get easier, like it gets so much easier, but they don't know that. And so I'm going to get them 2 parties booked before they have, in their mind, what's a loss, right? Like, I'm going to get them hooked. If they have 2 parties booked, they have to do those parties, and then through those next 2 parties, they're going to start developing the rhythms, the patterns, okay? If we don't get these 2 parties booked before their launch party, I've seen that the likelihood that they will be successful starts going down. So this is the most important thing that I have seen is getting 2 parties booked before their launch party happens. So if you're like, okay, how do I do that? Don't worry, I gotcha. Let's look at how we do that. So the first thing I do, I try to do this 3 days before the launch party happens. That doesn't always happen, and that's fine. The timing isn't as important as doing it. So the first step is we're going to brainstorm a list of 10 names, okay? This is the exact wording I send them. Okay, let's go ahead and get a party booked, or maybe 2 for next week. Think over the people coming to your party. Was there anyone who already loved the books? Or maybe a best friend or a family member that was for you? Try to make a list of 10 people that come to your mind. Send me a picture of your list when you're done, and I'll send over some wording you can use. So I have given them their action step. Send me a picture of your list when you're done. So I put them all in, right? I can just copy and paste this. This does not take me any time at all. So after they've sent me the list, I explain the numbers game. This is important to do from the very beginning, right? I need them to know you're going to send 10 to get 1 party book. Typically they'll get 2, but I don't tell them that part yet. What I found if I leave this part out, they only send 1 or 2 messages, and then they get discouraged because nobody said yes, right? I am trying to eliminate discouragement. I want them to know this is normal. We're going to send 10. So they're going to, I tell them all this, and then I end with the action step. Send me a GIF or GIF, however you say it. When you've gotten all 10 of those messages sent out, step 3, I give them the exact wording to use. Super important step. The wording that I give the exact date that they are going to be hosting, and I'm ending it in a question. Okay, so they've made their list, they know to send out 10, I give them the wording to use. Do I just hope and pray that they get it done? No, I check back in. So that night, or the next day, I check back in. Have you heard back from any of your messages? The one thing that I found, if somebody says yes, like, yes, I'll host, they're gonna tell me, they're gonna message me and be like, yay, Holly said that she would host, awesome. If somebody says no, or has a hesitation, they're probably not gonna tell me. They're not gonna be like, hey, I just heard back from Holly, and Holly said not right now because her little one is sick, and she's busy. They don't tell me all that, right? And so I have to ask them, have you heard back from any of the messages? Because they probably have, and there's probably been some hesitations, and I'm gonna have to help them talk through those hesitations. So from the very beginning, I'm teaching that this is normal, this is common, it's fine. People don't understand how easy hosting is, right? And so I'm addressing this from the very beginning. Okay, so I know you're like, but what if? What if? Okay, so we're gonna just address a few of the what ifs. What if they have hesitations? This happens sometimes, right? We have some new consultants who have hesitations. If they have hesitations about double booking. So this is one that sometimes out here at this point, they're like, wait, 2 parties the same night, the same time. And I'm like, yeah, girl, you're fine, you got this. And most of the time they're like, okay, I got this. If they're still concerned, or maybe if you're concerned about asking somebody to do 2 parties, the launch party is the biggest party they're ever gonna have, right? Probably. I mean, maybe not, but probably. The next 2 parties are gonna be a little bit smaller. So think of it as like 1 big party in 2 different pages. They just hit click, it's gonna be fine. And then they reply, we're good. What if they have I've heard the hesitation of like, don't know if I want to send messages before the party. Like, let me just wait and see how the party goes. So to those people, I'm like, totally understand. Let's wait, see how the party goes. But the people that we already know love the book, I'm like, they've already been to these parties. Let's just go ahead and send it to them. Like, they're familiar, they know what's going on. We can wait on the people that, maybe have never been to a party before. And so we still send them, right? Like, we're going to send them. Okay, so what happens if they join right before their party starts? This is something that happens often on our team. Our biggest recruiting that we get is from our hostesses, right? Like the hostesses we're hosting. So we do 3 recruiting asks. We do it after they've sent all their messages and the page is going. We do it after people have started interacting on the page. That's a big one. Like they're like, oh my gosh, my friends are coming and they're interacting. I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be good. The last ask is typically 24 hours before the party or the morning of the party. And this is what hooks them. This is what gets them, right? And so a lot of times our new consultants are joining the day of their party. That's fine. If the consultant joins the day of their party, I typically still run the party page for them. So their tasks are creating the e-commerce link, making a list of 10 people, and sending the messages, right? They're still gonna do it. The only exception to this rule that I have is if they join like right before the party. So if it's like 45 minutes before the party, that's too crazy. And we'll get to that in a little bit. So then the last one, if they don't get parties booked prior to their launch, it's still okay. We're gonna get into what happens then. Okay, so this is a little bit of the calendar view again. So now we are on Thursday. We are on launch party day. This is a big day, okay? Now, I think a lot of times my leaders are like, this is a big day because it's the launch party, we're gonna start getting sales in. No, this is a big day because we're gonna get parties booked for the next week, right? That's why it's a big day. Okay, so let's look at what we do launch party night. So number 1, I check the comments on the post about hosting a party. Okay, I check those comments. Now, typically, do we get a lot of parties booked this way? No, but sometimes we do. So I'm gonna check, I'm gonna see who commented. Those are the first people that we're gonna message. So I say by name. Okay, new consultant Susie, I saw that Holly commented on your post about hosting a party. Let's go ahead and message her right now, and we're gonna send this message. And she's like, okay, yay! So she sends that message. If they have any hesitations, we're gonna speak into that. The next thing that we do, I'm gonna encourage them. They're not sure how their party went, right? They're like, I think it went okay. Like I had 10 people participating, I think. So I'm gonna encourage them. Your party went amazing. And then I explain what's gonna happen. Just a heads up. We typically don't get any orders the night of the party. Now, is that true? I mean, sometimes they don't even know that, right? If I set the bar low and they get orders in, they're like, oh my gosh, and it's amazing. So I just tell them, typically don't. So don't worry about that. We'll be getting follow-ups, it's gonna be great. And then I end it with one last thing to do tonight. Let's go ahead and send this message to everyone who came to the live party tonight. Guys, those people are there. They're awake. They're online. They just went to the party. They're excited. Take advantage of it. Message them. Get that party booked, okay? Give them the wording to use the night we're going to book, ending with a question. Okay, so as I have done this, I have gone through their party myself. I am making a list. Susie came live, Holly came live, Michelle came live. Bridget participated, I'm gonna get her name, Michelle participated, whoever. I'm making a list, right, so that I know who we're gonna be following up with. Okay, so back to that calendar view. We have the launch party. The next day we're gonna do follow-ups, and then the next day we're gonna do follow-ups. So we typically do 2 days of follow-ups, pretty much the same thing. So what do I do for follow-ups? The first thing that we do is I'm going to check back office. I want to know if any orders came in. If no orders came in, we're gonna skip this step. They don't need to know that I even know if any orders came in, right? The last thing that I wanna do is to discourage them. So if you ask, like, did any orders come in? And the answer is no, you're starting with disappointment. So I'm checking back office, and I'm gonna see, oh yes, they got an order in. So then I send this first one. Oh my goodness, I just saw that you got an order in, right? Celebrate every single win, every single one. A $12 order is a win now. So we're gonna celebrate it. That's amazing, congratulations. Who has already ordered? So I have my list out and they're like, Michelle placed an order. Awesome, I'm gonna mark that on my list. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and send her this message. And we send the message to Michelle, or whoever I just said, I don't remember the names. Okay, so we send that message, then we're gonna move on. Everyone else gets a follow-up message, okay? Now, the next day, we're going to do the same thing. So the first thing that I do, I get up, I check back office. Has anything changed? Has any other orders come in? If so, we celebrate them We send the message to the people who ordered, and then we send the follow-up messages to everybody else. The only difference at this point is I'm going to go back and I'm going to follow up. Michelle ordered yesterday. Hey, did Michelle ever get back to you about that booking ask? What did she say? Did she have any hesitation? If so, send me a screenshot. I'm going to give you the wording to use, right? I need to know what is happening. I need to know what the people are saying. Okay, here we go. We are on day 3 follow-ups. We are on the 3rd day following the launch party. This is the make it or break it day for a new consultant. If we go to bed this night with no parties booked, the chance of this new consultant being successful drops like, I'm just going to make up a number, I don't know, 50%. This is a really important day, okay? Let me just emphasize that. Now, can they still be successful if they don't have parties booked for this night? Sure, we can follow up with customers, and we've got some other things we can do, but this is a really important day. I do everything I can to make sure that they have 2 parties booked for that Thursday night before I go to bed. Now, something to point out, I have not changed the day that they are going to book. They are going to get 2 parties booked for Thursday night. Why? Because I'm creating habits. I am showing them, we get 2 parties booked from every party, and you book them for your next available date. We are intentional with our calendar. We don't book them for March. We don't book them for summer. We book them for your next available date. And I'm looking at every single person. I'm looking at every single booking, and so that I can help with this wording, okay? So, what are some things that we do this day to make sure that we get the parties booked? 1, checking screenshots from the people that have ordered. Remember, I have the list of everyone who has ordered, so I can ask for screenshots by name. Hey, send me a screenshot from Melissa. What did she say back to your booking asks? What about Emily? Emily came live and said she wanted to host a party. Have you heard back from her? What did she say? Specific people asking for screenshots. The next thing I look at, remember, I have a list from their party who participated but haven't ordered. I'm going to ask for screenshots. What follow-ups are we doing? What if they said no to ordering? That's okay. We're going to bring them hosting. Those are great hostesses. And then the last thing that we can do is pick prize winners and turn them into hostesses. I'm helping with this. I'm giving them wording. We are doing all of this together. We are going to do everything that we can to get these parties before they go to bed this night. Okay. Now, if you are wondering, okay, how do our leaders do this? I know this is like really small. I'm trying to fit it all on one page. But if you're like, okay, I think I do this pretty well. And I think I am helping my new consultants. They are launching well, but I'm not sure if my leaders are doing it. How do I help them? So this would be for a brand new downline leader. So this is someone who is still in the recruiting phase. This is someone who is still in the launching phase. So these are some questions. I'm still pretty much all up in their business, right? I'm asking questions every day. Remember, don't tell them, something that you can ask them. So I see that somebody joins. I'm like, yay, I just saw that Susie joined. Woo! When is your launch party date? So what is the purpose of this question? I'm making sure that they're booking that party for the next 7 days. I really want to know if they have a systemized launch party night for their team, right? This question can tell me a whole bunch. If they're like, I don't know, I haven't heard back from her yet. I'm like, she knows something about launch party that you do. 4 days before the party, how's inviting going? How many messages has she been able to send? 3 days before the party, is the event page set up? Will you invite me? Has she started brainstorming her list of 10 people to message about booking a party? What date is she going to double book? So what am I looking at here? That they have one set party night. If they're launching on Thursday, they're going to double book for Thursday. 2 days before the party, was she able to get her 10 messages sent out? Did she get any parties booked yet? So I'm making sure that my new leader is keeping focused. What is her one goal? Getting 2 parties booked. Is it sales? Yeah, sure, we love sales from the launch party, but sales is what's going to get their business started. Getting 2 parties booked is going to get their business started. 1 day before the party, has she heard back from any of those 10 people? Has she sent you screenshots of what hesitations they had? What is this doing? Making sure that she's following back in, making sure that she's seeing the screenshots. Launch party night, make sure to stay super focused on getting those 2 parties booked. Okay, so y'all get it. Every day I'm asking questions. I'm making sure that their focus is on the right step. And then as soon as we get the parties booked, woo, great job getting those parties booked, have you started Hostess coaching? So if you have a more experienced leader, to where they got their stuff together, they don't need to hear from you every day, so we're going to just back it up just a little bit more. So for a more experienced online leader, I could say, well, yay, I just saw that Susie joined. When is her launch party date? What date is she going to double book? So all I'm doing here is I'm making sure that they're not only worried about the launch party, they're also looking ahead to the rest of her calendar. Susie's launch party went an amazing. Way to go. Was she able to get next Thursday double booked? How are those hostesses doing? Some more wide level questions. These are going to be my proactive leader. I'm asking these questions as the party is happening. So what if on a coaching call, I look at their recruits and I'm like, hey, your recruits, they're not going to be started very strong. I'm going to ask questions on that hostess, on that call. I saw that Susie joined December 1st, but she still only has 250 in sales. Let's talk about that. What happened? Did she get 2 parties booked before her launch party? So my main thing here, I'm trying to figure out, is the problem getting the parties booked? So are they having trouble getting 2 parties booked from their launch party for the next available day? Maybe the problem is, they're booked too far out. Maybe the problem is they're not speaking into the new recruit solicitations. Whatever it might be. Is this the problem? Or is the problem getting those first parties with the hostess successful? So if this leader is like, yeah, we got 2 parties booked, but those parties totally flopped. Okay, so that's a whole different ballgame. So now let's look at how to help their first parties with a hostess. Okay, so this is like a totally different ballgame. Hold on, I gotta get my next page notes. These parties are more important than their launch party is. And I think this is a hard switch sometimes as leaders. It's like, they got through their launch party, it was amazing, they got 500 in sales, they got 2 parties, but woo, job done. No. Job's just getting started, right? And so, with our first parties with the hostess, we actually help them quite a bit through this. So let's look at why. Looking back at this calendar view, they have their launch party, they went great, 250 in sales, 2 parties booked for next week. Okay, look at this week 2 goal though. They still need to get another party to 250, and they need to get a recruit. Y'all, this is hard for new consultants, right? These are their friends. These first 2 parties, these are their friends. And it's hard. Like, y'all know, I don't really like partying with my friends. My mom said that, I don't really like partying with my friends. Like, it's hard. If they don't do what they're supposed to do, and I have to like push them, or asking them to join is scary, because I'm like, they don't like direct sales. I don't think I'm gonna ask them to join. So you know what? We're just gonna eliminate that, because I'm gonna lead the hostess coaching for my new consultants. I'm gonna do it for them. So they don't have to worry about it. They don't have to worry about pushing their friends. They don't have to worry about Susie, who hates direct sales and would never want me to ask her to join, because I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be that person, okay? So let's look at how I lead their first parties with the hostess. So step 1, setting up the hostess coaching checks. Yay, we're 7 days out from your first party. So something I wanna look at too. If they're booking every Thursday, their hostess coaching is starting the day of their launch party. We start hostess coaching 7 days out. That's a pretty busy day, right? I don't want to put that on them, so I'm just going to help them, and I'm going to get their hostess coaching started for them, because I'm really a nice leader. So I'm going to say, we're 7 days out from your first party, so it's time to start hostess coaching. Hostess coaching is one of the hardest parts of the parties, but also the most important. So I'm actually going to help with this piece and let you just watch behind the scenes and follow along. To get us started, go ahead and set up a group message with me, you, hostess number 1, and then me, you, and hostess number 2. Okay, so I'm telling them exactly what to do. They know how to set up the chats, okay? Then I lead the hostess coaching chats. I treat them like my hostesses. Everything that I would do with my hostesses, I'm doing for them. And I'm coaching my new consultants behind the scenes. Why? Because the next parties, I want them to take more of an upward lead with, right? So I want them to know, like, where is this information found, and what am I copying and pasting, and where am I finding it, but I'm still doing it. I'm just coaching them. And then step number 3, treating the parties like their own. I think sometimes as leaders, I forget about their parties a little bit, and so sometimes the hostess coaching isn't like right on. Like I might forget to check them like that one day. No, we gotta be spot on, right? We are training our new consultants by the examples that we are doing, and so I have got to be spot on. This hostess coaching has to be like perfect, because this is what they're gonna copy. Okay, so then this is just a step-by-step. So in light blue is the steps for the party with a hostess. So 6 days out, leading hostess coaching, that gets started. I try when we're about 3 days out. That's my goal. I'm going to be setting up a Facebook event and creating the e-commerce link. This is when I shift it back to them. I do the hostess coaching, they do everything else, okay? They create the event, they create the e-commerce link. I'm looking every single day at the parties. I'm making sure that they're doing their posting and the replying and the recommendations, and I'm helping them, right, every day. So then we get to the party night. Most important night again. Why? For sales? No. To get messages going, to get parties booked for the next week. I'm putting in their head, our goal for tonight is to get 2 parties booked for next Thursday. We get parties booked from parties, okay? Because that one hostess joined, that second party is gotta be spot on. You gotta get 2 parties booked from it, and it needs to be next Thursday. I am already helping them get rid of this myth that recruiting your hostesses is a bad thing. Okay, I think sometimes new consultants are like, I don't want to recruit my hostesses. Like, that's going to lead, and my business is going to fail if they join. No, we get 2 parties booked for every party, you're fine, okay? And so as soon as the party ends, we're going to send messages to everyone who attended live. Follow-up, say 1. We do the same things. I check back office. Have sales come in. Yay, celebrate them. Who ordered? Send them this message. Send messages to everybody else. Okay, all of this information, I just want to clarify this. All this information is in our team page, right? Like, there are units, there are trainings. I'm still messaging them every day. Why? Because we're creating habits of working your business every day. They don't do this automatically, right? Like, a lot of them stay-at-home moms. Like, they're not used to working every day. That doesn't come naturally to them. Sometimes as leaders, I hear my leaders say, well, you know, like, she's doing check-in. She's doing the things. Like, right, because that's our job as leaders to model for them. That consistency that Carly talked about, we consistently show up. We model that, and then they start doing it themselves. So we do that on follow-up day 1. We do that on follow-up day 3, or day 2, and then follow-up day 3. This is the big day, right? This is the day we don't go to bed until 2 parties are booked for Thursday night. This is a non-negotiable. We are not going to change our party day. We are not going to have an empty party day. We are going to get 2 parties booked for Thursday night, right? We can do this. We're looking at screenshots. I have the list of the people that were in the party. I'm like, Michelle came, send me a screenshot of what she said. She ordered. What did she say about Hostess? I'm all up in their business. Okay. So this is a look at the entire February calendar. So this would actually work for us as we're doing our Connect 4. 2 parties, the same night a week. 1 in 4 parties needs to join. Okay? So if you look at this, week 2, we are ending with 500 in sales and a recruit. We get 2 parties booked for the next Thursday night. They each hit $250. We're finishing week 3 with $1,000 in total sales. We get 2 parties booked for the next Thursday night. 1 party hits $250. We get a recruit. We are ending week 4. We're actually above where we need to be right now. We have $1,250. We only need 1,000. Okay? So we hit our week 4 goals. Woohoo! Okay, so then let's look at March. It just keeps going, y'all. Isn't this awesome? Like, this is what we want our new consultants to do. And now we get to reward them for it. And home office is sending them prizes for it. Like, how awesome is that? We have a home office that is rewarding our consultants on what we already want them to do. Yay! Okay, so week 5, we get 2 parties. They each hit $250. Week 6, we get 2 parties. 1 join, we hit our week 6 goals. The only thing that changes in this is by week 8, they actually need to get 3 parties. But it's okay, because by now we have the habit of one of the recruits is going to join, so I get 2 parties myself, right? They know that. That's not going to be scary. Okay, so this is looking at through the entire 8-week client incentive period, a recruit who hits every single goal just by holding 2 parties, booking 2 parties, and recruiting. We can do this, right? We can do this. Okay, so now if you're wondering, but what about promotion? How do I set them up for this crazy promotion thing we just came up? I got you. Okay, so we are going to look at the same consultant. The same consultant, this is what we already did, right? It's not scary. We can do this. So this consultant, the only thing that I added in is that recruit number 1 that joined, they also have 1 party. Okay? Obviously. That's easy. Recruit, get 1 party booked. That's all we needed. So we are ending February. This is what this consultant already did, right? Just by getting them started strong. Nothing crazy. They are ending February with $1,250 in personal sales, $2,000 in total group sales. They already have a recruit active. Yay! And recruit number 2 has $250 in personal sales. Okay, so typically at this point, let's talk old promotion for a minute. At this point, I would be like, oh, this recruit is good. I'm going to get them going on month 1 of promotion, right? That's typically what I would be thinking in my head. So for month 1 of promotion, what did we need to do? We had them pick, I don't know if we did. I had them pick 12 party dates that they wanted to book for the, or 6 party dates, they need to have 12 parties for month 1 of promotion, right? Is that kind of the consensus? Okay, so if this person was entering just month 1 of promotion, I would say, okay, we need to get 12 party dates scheduled for March, okay? So I'm gonna show you a calendar of this recruit. So this person, just to keep in mind, we're gonna promote April 1st. So just to remember, the qualifications for promotion, 5,000 group, 2,000 personal, 5 active recruits. So this recruit still needs 3,000 in group, 750 in personal, recruit number 2 to hit 250, and 3 new recruits. Okay, so when I was mapping this out, I was like, whew, that's a lot. Like maybe we set this bar a little too high, like I don't know if I can do this. Okay, so then I looked at the calendar. This calendar, this new consultant, would hit promotion. Look how many parties they have. 12. That's what we're already doing, y'all. We can do this. But you know the awesome thing? They no longer have to hit month 1 and then do it again. They will promote April 1st just by doing what they were already doing, okay? And so what we need to do, we need to have 12 party dates. 1 in 4 recruits needs to join, okay? So setting it up like this, we have 4 parties every week. 1 of those recruits joins. Every recruit needs to have 1 more party because we only need to get them to 500. Now we're going to do more. Don't forget, Heather. We're going to get them to more, but that's just all that they have to have, okay? So looking at this consultant is ending March. So just in March, she has 4,000 group, 2,250 personal, so above what she needed. 5 active recruits promotes the team leader because it was achieved during her climb, so she had until the end of March. She got $400 book credit. Okay, so what if I'm like, hey, new consultant Susie, you know, if you get $1,000 more and doing it all in March, if you get $5,000 in March and do it in 1 month, you're also going to get $200 cash for doing it in 1 month during your climb. And new consultant Susie is like, yeah, I will. And she does it because look, if she just keeps up 2 parties every Tuesday, 2 parties every Thursday, that's 1,000. Boom, did it. $200 cash. Or, hey, these recruits, right now they only have 1 party booked. But they're going to get more than that. If every recruit just gets 1 more party booked, that's 1,000 more. She gets $200 cash. Now we can do this, right? That's exciting, y'all. I look at this and I was like, yeah, wait, we have to wait till February to start? Like, can we start now? Like, I want to do this now. This is exciting, you guys. This is going to create a new leader who is in a habit of doing this. She's not holding sales. She's not worried about month 1 and month 2. This is a continuation of what we're already doing. She is going to promote and have an active team who just joined and who are excited. Yay! Okay, I'm really excited. Can you tell? I'm really excited about it. Okay, so we're going to come back to the key points of success, and we're actually going to go to a panel with Rachel and Camille really quick. And so I know you're probably like, okay, in a perfect world, we're going to launch all these people like this, but what about the people who don't? What about the people who get an empty calendar? What about the people, you know, who hit some little ruts in the road? Because that's going to happen. And we're going to talk to you about that. Okay, so here we go. Rachel Hare is the senior director and lives in Leander, Texas. Is that how you say it? Leander, just north of Austin. She joined UVM in July of 2016 and survived the fall that shall not be named. She taught 2nd grade for 11 years and was able to resign from teaching after just 2 years with UVM to do something she never thought she'd be able to do, stay home with her 2 boys while making more than she did as a teacher. She and her husband recently opened a small business in Georgetown, Texas, a play gym for kids that she manages full-time along with her book business. Camille Steiner is a senior director in the Chicago suburbs with her husband, 3 kids, and a fluffy dog. She joined UVM in July of 2015. 2005. I know we all. Camille's an expert here. And it quickly became the business she never knew she'd love. Formerly, she was a nurse practitioner, but jumped into UVM after moving to a new state with a preschooler, a toddler, and a 5-month-old in tow. While her kids are all teens, she's done this with babies, while homeschooling, with kids all in school, through home renovations and moves, and as a busy pastor's wife. She's earned 15 trips, many national awards, including the President's Award, and loves the flexibility. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about, okay, so not even a new consultant, a consultant, or a leader even, comes to you, and they're like, but I have an empty calendar. Oh, wise leaders, what do I do?
I think one of the biggest places to start is with their why, or what the reason is, the reason you join the business. Because if you can connect emotionally with them, they will be way more invested in their business and in the success of it. So if you can get those emotions stirred up, then they are motivated to work. So I definitely want to start with that.
And then another big thing that we look at is when their most recent party was, and asking them, okay, when was your last party? Let's take a look at it. And then going into their party, being a detective, diving in, actually going through all their comments in the party. Okay, why did we not get a booking from this party? What happened? And then asking them for screenshots. I know Kristi mentioned screenshots a lot in her presentation. We use a lot of screenshots. Like just asking them, did you ask this person if they wanted to host? And they say, oh yeah, I asked. And you say, and what they say, no. And if you just move on, you have no idea what happened there. So asking them for a screenshot, okay, let me see your ask. And then you can see, was the problem with how they worded their ask? Did they end with a question? What did they exactly say? Or was it speaking into the hesitation? Did they actually say no, or did they say, I don't have time? Like, okay, that's not a no. You need to speak into that hesitation. Talk to them about that. Did they not respond? Did they ignore you? That's not a no either. Send them a funny gif, like, hey, are you there? You know, something funny. Speak into those hesitations, get those screenshots, get in the habit of having them send you screenshots, because then that goes into recruiting too, sending you screenshots for that. So just really diving in their parties and see, you know, what's going on there, and that they should be getting 2 parties from every party, and if they're not, they're doing something wrong.
And another thing that we discussed together that is so critical is the follow-up and the customer care. That can't be underemphasized. They need to be building those relationships, and they need to be focused on serving the other person, not just like booking the party with them, but getting to know those people and connecting with them, because if they're always stirring the pot that way, the bookings are more likely to come, the conversations don't seem so spammy. We don't want to be that company. We don't want to train our consultants to be those kind of consultants where they're only looking out for what, how they're going to build their business, but what value can they add to those other people. So that's really critical. And then another thing related to when they're reaching out to those people, they can also be booking more parties too. You don't need to just have them do one launch party. If they're struggling to get bookings, they did not ask all of their friends and family to that first launch party, right? So they can do multiple launch parties and go back to the other people that they avoided asking for their first launch party.
All right, and then the next thing we talked about was possibly having, you know, their own parties, mystery hostess party, window shopping party, things like that to start generating more people. And again, going back to the people that maybe you missed your first round, or, you know, it's been several months, or you have new customers now, you have new friends that you've probably met through new life situations or whatever. So having another little refresh party and having people come to those and being able to have a new kind of like customer base.
And then the last thing we were really thinking about was booking blitzes. How many of you guys do booking blitzes with your teams? So they're great, but one thing we all agreed about is that a booking blitz is most effective when they're doing all these other things too. They're not meant to be something that's a magical solution to filling their calendar. It's really more about the accountability and the camaraderie and the support of everybody booking parties at the same time. Rather than like, okay, this is the magical solution to filling my calendar. So remind them to always be doing those other steps, and then when it's time to do the team booking blitz, then they're more likely to get actual results from it too. And Rachel has some tips on booking blitzes too.
So the timing of booking blitzes are super important. You want to make sure they're more like towards the end of the month when you are starting to refresh your calendar, and then, you know, wanting to give them a sample calendar, kind of like, here, you need to be booking the first available date. You're not just sending out a message and saying, what date works for you? Guiding them to practice that habit of setting the next available date. And then also being super guided with the steps of sending out messages in a booking blitz. Like, you don't just want to overwhelm them with, okay, we're going to send 200 messages, go. Like, they're going to be like, what? Oh, I can't do that. So just breaking it down for them. Like, today we're going to focus on sending out 20 messages to people that you've been too scared to send them to before. Being brave and sending them to those people. Today we're going to focus on, you know, clicking on that customers tab in your e-commerce and sending them to those people. Today we're going to focus on going back into past parties and seeing message connections that you have, or maybe new people have opened your message that didn't open it in the past, and now you have brand new message connections you didn't have before. So just helping them find those different message avenues and then giving them the wording and helping them with that wording. Because a lot of times they just don't have the right wording yet, and they don't end with a question, and then that's going to mess everything up from then on. So giving them the exact wording for sitting out. I think that's it. Is that it?
Okay, so we have a few last points before we're going to close down. You can go if you want to, or you can just stay right here. Okay, so some just few key points. These are all things that we've already talked about, but like, just to sum it up, good summary. So we want to help them create these habits, right? We don't want to have to get to the point where they have an empty calendar. We want to start having them create habits. And you know what? I need to book next Thursday. I'm 7 days out. I don't have parties booked. I'm going to go ahead and do some of the things before it's, oh man, I just missed that Thursday. No, if you have an empty date, book it. Do these things, right? The parties that you're already in. Being intentional with your calendar, picking one party night a week, and double booking it. Those are non-negotiable dates. It's not like a suggestion. We will get them booked, and we're going to hold them accountable to make sure that they are booking them. We are only booking our first available date. We are getting 2 parties booked from every party. That is our focus. Treat the parties like your own. Be in their business. See the screenshots. We are helping them to create the habits by giving them the knowledge, what to do, the skill, how to do it, so then they have the desire to create and maintain a thriving business.